Hi guys, welcome back to no, one up. Back down. Hey guys, welcome back to BARROVAIN Made. Now, quick little apology. The past few videos, I don't know if I've managed to fix it in editing yet, but because of my fancy new microphone and my two brain cells, I didn't realise audio was only coming from the right ear, since I don't really edit with my earphones in. So hopefully I managed to fix that. I've literally only just found it out like 2 seconds ago when I recorded this intro. I've got my headphones in, listened to it back, and I was like, audio's only coming through right ear. Check the rest of the videos. They're all like that as well. So fingers crossed I managed to fix that in editing. But if I haven't, apologies. The audio is fixed now. I've managed to play around with the settings and get it to come through both ears. Sorry. But anyway, in this video, we're going to be making, well, for this little Christmas series, we're going to be making a little box of some sort. Basically, this is just an excuse to use up some material. As we take apart a lot of furniture on this channel, we have a lot of this thin stock that I have nothing to do with. I just keep it because it is actually solid oak. And also, the other day when we made those oak end grain chopping boards on epoxy, I had spare epoxy, so I carved some lines into a thin bit of wood and made a pattern out of the epoxy. So this will do good for the lid, make it some sort of interesting. We're going to make a box about this wide, that long, probably about the perfect size as a wine box. I tell you what, this is going to be a wine box thing. So when you give someone wine, it comes in a nice fancy box. How about that? There we go. The box has a purpose now. Anyway, let's get on with the video. So the first thing I'm going to do is going to rip down all of our material, make sure it's all the same size. I'm going to grab that oak that I was talking about with, the stuff we ripped out of furniture and stuff. I've got no use for this thing, and it's just been sat around in my shed. So, making a box with it is perfectly good. And I figured this is probably the right size box I'll be able to get out of this without running out of material and biting into other stuff. But yeah, we got it all cut out. Everything's all the same size. So just in case you're following along at home, all this stock is about a centimetre big. We're going 40 by 13 centimetres for two of them. We're going 14 by 12 centimetres for two of them. And we're going 15 by 12 centimetres for the other ones. So if you're following along and you have 1 centimetre stock, these are all the parts you need to cut out. Two of everything, really. And just before we're going to put this box together, we're going to go and whack it with the sander. You're probably thinking it's a bit early to do some sanding, but what you're not taking into consideration is that it's very hard to sand inside of a box with corners and everything like that. And we will come back and we will sand it again later on. But sanding all of this now means we don't have to mess around with sanding on the inside of the box and make an absolute mess. And I'll show you a little trick I use as well to make sure that I don't get glue absolutely everywhere when I'm gluing up something like this, where I'm doing it in blind, hidden corners and stuff. But yeah, we've got everything all sanded now. I'm just going through, and my little rotary sander thing, it leaves a lot of marks, so I just went around with a bit of hand sanding and did all that. This is my little trick I was talking about. What I did is I just masked everything off and, got a razor blade and cut off where the actual glue would be sticking. And I'm not doing any fancy joinery for this box. I mean, I've got to make 25 videos in 25 days, so I'm trying to make this as quickly as possible. But so I just ended up using butt joints and nails, and it was a sort of disservice for this box because the box came out really, really nice. So I'm a bit disappointed that I ended up using nails and stuff like that and not doing any dovetail joinery or any miter joints or anything like that. But the box still came out looking really nice. And these little pin tack nails were absolutely horrendous to use. I hate using small, tiny nails. I spend half the time bending them and, less time actually hammering and stuff. So this actually took a long, long time. And what I'm doing here is I'm just pushing down the material so it's all sitting flat. Some of this stuff was a little bit warped, just because it's, dead thin stock that's been sat in me shed for a while. But nothing a little bit of negotiating with a clamp can't fix. And, we got it all done. It all came out very nice. And like I said, after everything's dried up and glued, we come back and we sand the outside again. And you'll notice here, how the hell are you meant to get into this box? There's no lid for it. Well, this is the right way to make boxes. I've made boxes differently in the past and the lids haven't sat flush and it's been a bit of a pain. But make it into a full box, then come over to your table saw, lower your blade just below the thickness of your stock, so when you run around the outside to cut the lid out, you have a little tiny lip holding on. This is going to help it not pinch against the blade, make it a lot safer cutting, and yeah, it works a treat. So this is how I make boxes now, and if I ever got to make a box, this is how I do it all. Comes out very clean, and you'll see here in a minute that tape doing us the favor. But what I didn't do is tape everything off on the inside because I didn't think I'd be that messy with the glue. As you can see on the lid there, we got a little dribble into it, so I ended up having to come back and just do a little bit of hand sanding, but it was a lot less work than what it would have been if I didn't sand it beforehand. So yeah, going around just with a razor blade, just taking off all the tape on the inside, and we have a perfectly sanded inside and a perfectly sanded outside. So pretty much after this, all we have to do is clean up the lips on the lid and the actual box, make sure they're all nice, get any potential burn marks off of a blunt table saw blade. I would need to get a new table saw blade, I know that, or sharpen it, either one. But yeah, all we need to do is go around the lip of it with like a hand plane or something, take that little bit of excess material off, and then have to give it a little rub down with the sander. And you'll see all that in this little time lapse that I've done now. And yeah, that was a little bit of glue I was talking about that came over. So just scraping it off using the sandpaper just to come back and buff it all out. And worked out really nice, came out really nice. I'm just using a chisel to go around, take off the, it's almost like flashing. You know how you get flashing on like a plastic mold? You can compare it to that. So just get a chisel or a hand plane, go around it, make sure you get all that stuff off. You could theoretically just cut all the way through when you're doing it with a table saw, and you could completely skip this step and just jump straight to sanding. But you know, if you're doing that, cutting the whole way through, when you're on your last cut, the blade could pinch, and you'll end up having a box flying across your workshop. Would probably break, and you'd probably have to start all over again. So spending the extra 10 minutes to clean all of this up, do all that stuff. It's easy to run round with a razor blade, It for that little bit of safety and that little bit extra work, it is definitely worth it. But yeah. Also, I want to reach out here, guys, and ask for a little tip. My fence on my table saw blade, for some reason, every time I snug it up now, it has a slight angle to it. And it's driving me absolutely insane because it just means that my blade's rubbing, and then halfway through a cut, I've got to bang me fence to get rid of that little taper so it's not pinching in the fucking blade, and it does my absolute head in. I have tried looking for ways to adjust for this. The blade is sitting straight with the rails and stuff, so I know it's not that, it's just my fence. If you guys know how I can straighten that up, please let me know. But yeah, I did this on a time lapse, so you didn't really get to see, but this hardware I've actually taken off of a like a router. When you buy a router, they usually chuck in a free little, the crappy router bits that you get with them, and you get it in a nice little wooden box. I've just taken the hardware off of that to use on this. Saved me from buying hardware, and it looks a lot better on this box. But I'm just going in. What I did is I measured both sides to make sure the hinges are sitting evenly, and you got to make sure both hinges are at the same height as well. If you're having one that's bumped up a little bit higher than the other, the lid could be stiff opening it up. So what I like to do is fold the other part of the hinge down at like a 90-degree angle, bump it up against, and then I can screw into it, and it's perfectly straight. I know I didn't do that here in this video, and I did it the harder way of eyeballing it, screwing and unscrewing it until I can find the right place. But if you guys are doing this at home, do that with your hinges in future. It makes putting them on so much more easier. And what I did here is I just marked the center, got my little clasp thing. I don't know what the actual name is for this. It's not like a hook. I'm going to call it a clasp. That seems the most relevant term to use. But I'm just screwing that in the middle. And you can see there how the box, it meets up perfectly fine all the way around it. And because we cut the box the way we did, we have that little lip that we can add this sort of hardware onto, and it makes it a lot better. But because I'm liking the look of this box so much, I decided I want to put my touch mark bang in the middle of it. I'm not planning on selling this box. I got no idea what I'm going to do with this box, but I'm going to keep it because I like the look of it. So I decided to put my little touch mark on it. That all that epoxy resin and stuff you see on that top, that's from a previous project that we've had from that epoxy cutting board, and obviously I added too much to it, so I just scored a couple of lines in a bit of wood and did that, and that turned into this project. So good to know I didn't waste any epoxy. But yeah, we're just giving this a little lick of oil now. We're just using some hard wax oil, nothing fancy. It's got no stain or anything to it, so this is just the natural colour of the wood. And I like to hear your guys' opinions on the natural colour of oak. I love the natural colour of oak, and I always feel like putting stains and stuff on nice pretty wood, it just muds out the design. You can't see the grain properly, and it's not nice. Like when you do it like this, you can see all the grain, and it's absolutely lovely. I really like this box, and it'd be a perfect thing to send someone a bottle of wine in. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to put in this box, but I'm definitely keeping hold of it. No one's getting this for Christmas. This box is mine. But yeah, hope you enjoyed the video, guys. See you in the next one.